everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are spelling out my name. So if you saw my most recent video, which was a life update, we are moving soon and I need shorter videos to do, things that are easier, not as much brain power. And this is a trend that apparently has been going around on Bookstagram, Instagram, and I actually saw this on Mariah's Instagram. I will leave it linked down below. And it's basically, we're just going to be picking out books that I need to read that spell out my name. I did decide to go with my first and last name just to make it a little bit more challenging for me, but I do have a stack here that fits that. These are all books that I have on my TBR. I will say that this is overwhelmingly adult books because I have already sort of packed up most of my young adult TBR books because I have not been reading physical books as much, for one, but also two, I usually do gravitate towards adult more often than young adult, so I started packing up those ones first. So this is just like what we have left. So I guess let's jump into it. The first letter in my name is C, so I picked Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This is one of the few young adult books in this stack, and this is the third and final book in the last hours. I couldn't remember what the actual title of the series was because this is part of the Shadowhunters world, and I have been reading the Shadowhunters since I was 17 or 18, and I absolutely love the world building and everything like that. These are chunky books now just because like there's so much in them, and this is the one that is set in like the 1800s. It's following the children of the prequel series, which was the Infernal Devices. There is a lot of stuff going on here. I actually went to a book signing and got this signed to myself, and I still have not read it. I think partly because it's huge, so it's a little bit intimidating, and I think also partly because it's the last book in a series, and I feel like Cassandra Clare has been pulling out a lot of like heartbreaking moments in some of these books, especially the last ones in a series. I really do need to read it though because I love these characters and this world and everything, so this is my C. The next letter in my name is H, so I picked How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This is something that I hauled recently. I went to Barnes & Noble, got some books, and this is going to be a romance. It's actually a newer release. Came out sometime in April, so about a month ago maybe, and this is about two characters who had something happen to them previously, like when they were younger, and it sort of tied them together. Apparently not in a good way. I don't know what that means, but they are sort of tied together, but they have been growing apart. They are both adults, and one of them, our female main character, is a like young adult book writer, and she has gotten her book an option for like film, I'm pretty sure it is. And our other character, our male main character, is working in the sort of production of movies and stuff, and they end up working on her movie together, and things come from there. I don't know much else about it, but it sounded really, really good. This is my H. My next letter is E, and for that one I have Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. This has been on a couple TBRs now, and I definitely need to read it because I think our buzzword for this month is a book with every in the title, and I do not have anything but this book. This is a book about a man, I'm pretty sure, just because the author's a man as well. I mean, I could be wrong. A person who is talking about how like every single person in their family has killed somebody and like how that came about. I think there is a different sort of maybe murder or like killing of something that is also more of a mystery until maybe the end of the book, but the concept sounded very, very intriguing, and so this is my E. Then my next letter is L, and I have Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is actually going to be my book club pick, my Patreon book club pick for June. So we will be reading this for Pride Month. This author is trans, and I think one of our main character is trans here as well. I've heard this compared to like Good Omens and A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which are two things that I really, really enjoy. And basically we have this sort of like, I guess, cozy sci-fi that's a little bit weird, and it talks about somebody who's like a violin prodigy who's sold their soul to the devil potentially, and in order to get it back has to then trade in other violin prodigy souls. Like, I'm very, very curious as to how this is going to go. I love the cover, so this is my L. My next letter is S, and we have Starter Villain by John Scalzi. This is another sci-fi, but this is going to be more in the, like, super villain, superhero type of sci-fi. And basically this is about a guy who inherits his uncle's, I'm pretty sure it's his uncle's super villain business. It's like the family business, you know what I mean? But he comes to find out that the cats are upper management here. I don't know anything else about it. I'm very, very curious though, because I've read Red Shirts by John Scalzi, which was a very sort of meta, interesting take on Star Trek, which I really did love because I love the Star Trek aspects. I need to read this, so this is my S. Then my next letter is E, so I have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is going to be an adult romance that I'm very intrigued by because basically we have our main female character here who has had lots of boyfriends, now has lots of exes, and doesn't really know where she's gone wrong. So she has decided to revisit each of her, like, I think it's like 10 exes and figure out like why they ended up breaking up. She also then ropes in her new flatmate, who is a firefighter, to like be her sidekick in this quest. And I'm pretty sure the romance is gonna come between them. I'm very excited. This feels more like a sort of like friends to lovers sort of thing. Like they're gonna be friends first while she goes on this journey, which sounds ridiculous, but I am so here for it. Like, yes, go revisit all of your 10 exes and let's see how this relationship blossoms. So this is my E. My next letter in my name is an A, so I have Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the third book in the Brown Sisters series, and no, I have not read Dani Brown yet either, but I didn't have a letter for that, so I'm picking this one. This is actually something I really, really wanted to get to for the Autism Acceptance Readathon, which was a readathon I was helping host in April, because our author is actually autistic, and it looks like, I think Eve in this book is as well. So we do have autism representation on page, and I've been very, very intrigued by reading more from this author because I absolutely loved Chloe Brown, and I've heard that the books sort of just get better from there. This follows Eve, who is, I think, a chef because she applies for a chef position at a B&B, and the guy is just like not really into her as her personality and all this kind of stuff. They end up becoming, like, it says enemies / nemesis. I'm very curious about how all of this is going to play out. I need to read this, so this is my A. And so that was my whole first name. Actually, not too bad. I did end up doing my last name though, as I said. So the first letter I have for that is Z, which of course is going to be hard to do, but I have the perfect book. I have Zhara by S.J. Jones. This is something that I'm supposed to be buddy reading this month with Kirsty from K-Beth Bookish. We have a schedule, and I'm hoping to stick to it, even though I am going to be packing and doing crazy things like that soon. I have heard that this is sort of like a magical girl, like Sailor Moon type of story. And this, I believe, is actually like a young adult fantasy. So this is like the second, I think the only other book that was young adult in all these books that I have here. But it is going to be like a fantasy world where you're not really supposed to be doing magic, because I guess like if you can do magic, monsters have a higher potential of like coming in and doing stuff, but then you need the people that do magic to fight the monsters. It's this interesting sort of situation there. It looks like there might be a specific reason of like why this kind of incidence happens more often. I'm very, very curious because it is going to be following Zhara, who I believe has magic and is trying to hide it, but then it's Guardians of the Dawn. So I'm like, does she get roped into all that? Like, how does that actually work? I really want to find out. So this is my Z. Then my next letter is H, and I have Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellafleur. This is another romance I absolutely loved, Written in the Stars by this author, which was a sapphic romance. This is going to be a male-female romance, but I'm pretty sure at least one, if not both characters are bi, so it is still queer. And this is going to be set in Seattle, which I think is hilarious because I am moving to Washington, not exactly the Seattle area, but like that sounds very, very cool to me. The fact that like this is all coming together. I didn't even like realize that until after I picked the books and like was like refreshing my memory on synopses because I forget those a lot. But this is about a guy who has like a dating app because he absolutely believes in love 100% there is like your special soulmate out there. And I believe it's like his best friend's sister or something like that comes into town, and she doesn't really believe in love. And so he's gonna like try and convince her that love is real. I need to read this. So this is my H. The next letter I have is A, and I have An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. From my understanding, because I actually don't know a ton about this book, this is sci-fi, and it's about like a woman finding a statue or robot or something, and sort of getting fame from posting about it, because I think there are multiple throughout the world. I don't know if this means there's like alien invasion type of stuff, or like what kind of sci-fi it is, but I know it's sci-fi. I've heard really good things about it, and so this is my A. And then finally, the last letter I have here is O, and I have Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. This is the sequel/companion novel to Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, which was my favorite book of the year that I read that one. This is going to be sci-fi again. It is going to be romance, male-male romance. And again, from my understanding, this is going to be almost like a semi-reluctant sort of romance, but the way that Winter's Orbit was very like long-winded in the like slow burn nature of the romance. It wasn't just like a sci-fi romance. It was sci-fi and romance and mystery, and it was like very character focused with plot there too. Like, I just absolutely love the way that was written, so I'm really hoping for a lot of like character sort of being the main focus of the book, and we really get to see how that develops, because we do have one person who is telepathic, which I think is either illegal or regulated, but he was doing it where it wasn't regulated and he got caught. And then we have a soldier, and they have to have like their minds connected in a way because of that whole like unregulated telepathy sort of thing. And because of that, they then have that bond and stuff goes from there. I'm also really hoping for more of a mystery aspect in here as well, because we did have a quite big mystery aspect in the first one. I just really, really loved that first one, and like the writing style and the way that whole world and characters came together. So I've been really needing to read this one. I've had it for a while. And so this is my O. And so here we go. That is my whole name. This is my first name, obviously, in books. I just thought this was a very interesting way to share things that are on my TBR, especially because they do relate to my name. And that's going to be, before I drop them, I should put them down, it for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!